Hello and welcome to Housing Building Digest. My name is Dr. Shailesh Kumar Agrawal, Executive Director of BMTPC. BMTPC is an organization under Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs which is given a mandate to promote and propagate alternate and innovative building materials and construction systems in the field. Through this Housing Building Digest series, BMTPC is making an attempt to create awareness about the various facets of housing construction by owners. The first digest in the series is on things to know. Construction of a house is either carried out by central or state governments, public or private agencies, and developers. However, majority of construction is done by individuals themselves. The agencies have sufficient professionals like engineers, architects, planners to carry out construction, whereas for individual, he or she has to play the role of architect, planner, engineer, and builder. The owner may or may not have professional knowledge and skills, and therefore, this Housing Building Digest series will help owners to understand the important facets while planning to construct a house. Housing construction normally involves the activities as broadly written in this slide, like preparation of a housing plan, finalization of types and nature of building materials and practices, detailed estimates, approval from urban local bodies, and then the actual construction. And before entering into the house, you need to obtain a completion certificate. However, before proceeding, one must ensure the land on which the individual plans to construct a house is owned by the individual with its legal rights. Before embarking on construction, the first and foremost thing is to prepare housing plan. Housing plan primarily comprises of your layout of building, giving details of various rooms, their sizes, other facilities, amenities, etc. Always remember the plan need to be prepared keeping in view the local bylaws of municipality. That means the open spaces to be left on and around the building, offsets, etc. It is always advisable to consult or hire an architect for the same. Once the plan is ready, the materials and building construction system, that is masonry structure or RCC frame construction, need to be finalized, and detailed estimates are to be prepared so as to have idea of estimated cost. Also, the plan needs to be submitted for approval to the urban local body or a development authority. Once the approvals are in place, the actual construction starts along with supervision, and finally, the completion certificate is to be obtained from local authorities before using the house. Now, it is important for the owner to make himself or herself aware about the various construction elements, uh, architectural design, local bylaws, and carry out market survey, which is being explained through next slides. This slide shows you the various construction elements of house construction. The main elements, as you can see here, are foundation, then your walls, a roof, doors and windows, flooring, and finishing. In addition, the basic services known as MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and sanitation are to be provided. The step is to know the basic material required for construction, which are cement, sand, aggregate, concrete, steel, reinforcing bars or steel bars, timber, etc. Similarly, for sanitary, water supply, and electric installations, host of fittings and materials are available and can be chosen as per suitability of owner and finances available. The next step is market survey. Market survey needs to be carried out by owner with regard to cost, quality and local availability of materials and other fittings. This information will be of immense help to the owner to check out on cost and time. The next The next is architectural design. The house plan preparation is the most important step, and it is advisable to hire a professional architect for the same. The plan includes details of the number and sizes of rooms and other services and amenities. The plan needs to be prepared, keeping the objective of comfortable and quality living along with sufficient ingress of natural light and good ventilation. Local bylaws are also very important, and a copy of the same can be obtained easily from local body or from any professional working in the area or from the department. The building bylaws apprises about area to be covered, number of stories allowed, offsets from roadside. Uh, Also, bylaws help individuals to know the procedure for local approvals. As advised earlier, professional architect can be of immense help while undertaking the house construction. Having hired one one architect, the owner can spell out his or her requirements in terms of rooms and services required, number of stories required, budget and time available, based on which architect can prepare a housing plan. And typical housing plan is shown uh, here. As you can see here, plan comprises of basic layout of your house along with other details, and it can be finalized in consultation with architect. Having prepared the plan, the next thing is to know the cost involved in house construction. So the estimates are to be worked out so as to know the cost of construction, and owner can plan accordingly to initiate the house construction with its own funds or can take loan from scheduled banks or companies based on the estimates prepared by architect. One important aspect is that higher the specifications, higher is the cost, and therefore it is the call of the owner to select and choose material and specification. The merits and demerits of various materials, fittings, and other options available in the market can be discussed with any professional or architect or other users so as to arrive at a suitable working solution. It is also advisable that owner must take the approval from the local authorities before initiating the construction, and normally professional architects help in obtaining the same. Also, once the house construction is completed, remember the completion certificate need to be obtained. Most of the municipal authorities have made it mandatory that housing plan need to be signed by architect also besides the owner for submission to the authorities. Therefore, it is important to take these services of an architect. Once the plan is prepared, the structural design is to be carried out, which means sizes of various construction elements, that is your foundation size, walls, columns, RCC beams, column, slabs, and number of bars required. Normally, thumb rules are resorted to while doing the structural designing. However, we recommend that structural design need to be carried out by a civil engineer so as to impart strength and stability to the house and to make it affordable. It is also important to know the hazard scenario of your location in terms of earthquakes, flood, wind, cyclones, and incorporate the provisions accordingly. For knowing the hazard scenario, BMTPC's Vulnerability Atlas of India can be referred, which is available online. Now, this slide gives you rough idea of cost of construction based on our experience. The cost of various elements is shown here. For example, the cost of foundation is 10% of cost of total civil work. Similarly, roof contributes 25% to the total cost. Also remember, approximately 25 to 30% of total cost of civil work is involved in providing MEP services. However, it is a rough estimate and depends on number of factors, specifications, material, and fittings used. Having understood the cost of various elements, it is also important to know the normal time required to complete the house. On an approximate basis, a house of 100 square meter, that is around 1000 square feet, will take 50 to 60 weeks to complete. That means 1 to 1.5 years. Remember, proper planning and finalization of plans, etc., take 2 to 3 months and should be done before undertaking the construction. This slide shows you the rough breakup of construction time of various elements based on our experience. For example, finishing takes 10 to 11 weeks, whereas superstructure normally take 13 to 16 weeks. It is also important to note here that while carrying out construction, the vagaries of weather such as rainy season, extreme cold or heat conditions must be accounted for, as during this time work may be stalled or may go at a very slow pace. Also, it is important to plan beforehand the procurement of materials and other elements so that construction is done hassle-free and smoothly. Proper planning and sequencing of construction activity is of paramount importance to avoid delays in construction. Remember, delay means escalation in construction cost. Let me share with you how one should proceed with actual construction of house. A house can be constructed by owner himself or by engaging a contractor. It is always recommended to hire a contractor because owner may have limited experience in the field of construction. Again, hiring of contractor can be done in two ways. One is giving the contract on turnkey basis, where contractor is responsible for procuring the material and other elements as per the specifications which the owner give and construct. The other way is to hire a labor contractor and procure and supply the material yourself. In both the cases, supervision is important so as to have good quality and workmanship. The contractor is the one who constructs your house, and therefore it is uh, very important to select the contractor with due diligence. It is advisable to seek the advice of professionals and other owners before hiring the one. During construction, sometimes the issue related with payment, quality, and extra items are raised by the contractor, which often create problems for owners. Therefore, it is important to enter into an agreement with the contractor, a written agreement, and all the issues to be discussed and written down beforehand. Nowadays, the owner also demand for defect liability period, which means that in case of any defects after the construction is over, contractor will be responsible to rectify the same at his own cost. The period of defect liability may be 6 to 1 year, but this comes at an extra cost and advisable so as to avoid teething problems when you start in uh, your own house. Normally in government projects, daily worksheet is kept, which gives account of various activities undertaken on a daily basis. It is a good practice, and it is recommended that owners shall keep record of daily work being executed by the contractor by maintaining a diary. It will further help them to know the flow of construction and check on consumption of material and expenditure being incurred. One of the tricky issue while entering into the agreement with the contractor is the payment terms. For your guidance, rough guide of schedule of payments as percentage of civil work is presented here. As you can see, at the time of excavation, foundation, concrete, brickwork in foundation, and plinth and depth proof course, 15% of the payment can be released. While laying roof, 20% of the total project cost can be released. Always remember to make the payment in installments based on the stages of completion, and also contract agreement. Quality control and quality assurance are two most important aspects to have a quality house. It is therefore important to ask architect and his team to supervise the various construction activities on regular basis. Also, it is important to buy standard materials and fittings. The important aspects and supervision are casting of concrete elements such as beams, columns, slabs, number of reinforcing bars required, the cover required over the reinforcement, waterproofing, etc. At last, I leave you with the checklist of 16 points which a owner can check himself or herself while undertaking housing construction. Number one, the house should have a proper orientation so as to take maximum advantage of sunlight during winters. The openings like doors and windows should be properly placed so as to have proper ventilations. One must have adequate number of balconies which are good breathing spaces. Anti-termite treatment should be carried out in the foundations to take precautions against termite and other insects. Damp proofing coats should be laid properly to prevent ingress of dampness in the walls. Normally, OPC or ordinary Portland cement or Portland pozzolana cement PPC is suited for house construction and it should be used, which should not be more than 6 months old. Brick, if you are using, should be bright red in color and should give a ringing metallic sound when struck against each other. They should also be fully soaked in water before using. Steel for reinforcement should be clean, free from rust, oil, and grease. Sand and stone aggregates being used should be clean, cleaned before use. Material for construction should always be of ISI mark. The leftover mortar or concrete mixture of the previous day should not be used in the construction. Curing of brick and concrete work is very important and should be done properly in order to achieve the desired strength. Vertical centering and shuttering of concrete works should be in place for 8 to 10 days. Steel shuttering is always advisable to get a good undersurface. Concrete in slabs and beams should be properly vibrated to avoid honeycombing. Waterproofing is also very important and waterproofing of the roof should be carefully done, including joints of slab and parapets. Always provide Gola at the interface for smooth uh, expulsion of rainwater. Jointing of water and drainage pipes should be properly done. If this 16-point checklist uh, is considered while doing housing construction, the maintenance cost of the house will be reduced considerably. In last, uh, I would like to say that construction of a house involves large number of activities, individuals and agencies such as local authorities, architect, engineer, contractor for civil, electrical, sanitary, material suppliers, supervisors, artisans, skilled and unskilled laborers. It is therefore important to have proper coordination amongst them so as to reap maximum benefits and have a comfortable quality house. I hope the points presented here would be useful for undertaking house construction. The detailed digest number 1 can be downloaded from our website, which is https://www.bmtpc.org. The next housing building digest will be on role of different players. Thank you very much.